Welcome back to Brashonomics. When we have our Monday real estate shows, which are pretty much all about real estate, it is always fun to have a new guest who brings another opinion to what's going on in the market. And Kalen Peters joins us for the first time. He's the founder and owner of Kingston Realty, and his client base includes builders, investors, and individuals with an emphasis on residential homes. And they close over 100 homes per year. So, Kalen, I guess, well, first of all, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. My kid called me, or I guess he was sad to see me go, and in a weird way, it warms my heart. So I want to just talk a little about, what I was mentioning is, when you work with as many home buyers as you guys do, you must see all sorts of reasons people want to buy a house. Absolutely,
man. Yeah, the one of the primary ones right now is, coming out of the economic downturn, the last couple of years, you're actually seeing a lot of people that short sold back in 2008, 2009, ready to buy again. At the time, they short sold and, they were probably thinking, we're never going to go through this again. We're never going to buy again. There's a number of different factors, many of them financial, many of them, with kids, just like you were talking about, saying, what, we don't want to raise our kids from lease to lease every, on the long end, 36 months, might be good to settle down and take advantage of some of the financial aspects.
Especially if you have lots of kids, because with lots of kids comes lots of stuff. And I we haven't moved since we had a kid, but I imagine moving every year, 2 years, or 3 years just gets harder. We have so many Thomas the Trains, it would take years to move them all.
I've been married 4 years. We moved 5 times. So we're getting ready for that big settle down period right now.
Yeah. So, with that economic time, a lot of people did go through that short sale. Now people are coming out to where they can finance homes again. So why are people jumping in now?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, Ben. I think primarily the low prices are, all-time lows, or, for a lot of areas here, historically low rates. The psychological aspect, too, is there's an extremely low inventory, especially in King County. I think there is a little bit of, if you can't have it, you want it more. I got some first-time buyers down in Federal Way that, that area got hit harder than anywhere, with foreclosures. You could have had your pick of the litter a year and a half ago, and, this guy, first-time buyer, not picky, he was just itching to write everything up, and, we had to go through a dozen deals to get one to stick, and he had to pay $5,000 over list price just to get it. So that's kind of the environment everywhere in King County right now that we're facing. So I think it's a combination of opportunity and low inventory, and a little bit of a uncertainty of when another period like this is going to take place.
Yeah, we hear a lot about with interest rates and the affordability that really creates with low interest rates, and then of course the lower house prices than we've seen. And then you talked about things you can't get. Well, now with house prices going up, and you talk, like you said, 12 houses just trying to get one. Mm-hmm. Now there's almost this, you called it market mayhem. This frenzy that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a short market time. So it's really at the same time where it's a good market for buyers to purchase. We're really entering a great window for sellers. And again, we don't know how long that's going to last, what the foreclosure market's going to do. But, we're seeing most of the inventory selling within 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a good time to be a seller as well, and multiple offers on your property. And, sometimes you're having to, push people away, from buying your house.
What does that psychologically do to a buyer when, and I know you're probably not a psych major, but, what does it do to a buyer when they are, they're out, they're looking, and they see their dream home, and they try to get it, and somebody else gets it, and they go through this 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You talked about somebody going 12. Like, what do you see that keeps them driven to keep going through the process?
Well, my business partner / father-in-law, Mike, and I would call it a come to Jesus meeting. Primarily, you've had guys that have been able to low ball, and not even, low ball, but you're coming in 5-10 below and willing, ready to negotiate with these sellers, and they just can't do that anymore. So they still, they've been sitting on the bench for the last couple of years, and they're ready to get in there and buy, but they still think it's a buyer's market. They still think that they can go in there and have the power. And that's just not the case. So after, a couple of them, we sit them down and we have that talk, and it's just like, hey, look, we've been out there, we've made some offers, what the market's doing. So, this is the time to kind of, make a move. You either got to adjust your expectations, or, wait till you get that seller that's ready to, give you a deal.
What are the biggest expectations? Is it pricing? Is it that they have to adjust their expectation on? Is it location? Is it kind of a combination of just what you want?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of all those things. For me, this year has been about putting a real solid buyer program together. So it's been all across the board with the type of clients that I'm working with. But primarily, I think it's really limiting the area that you're looking. I mean, if you're showing them houses in one area, and then you're 12 miles east in a completely different market, that really gets confusing and disheartening. So I think that it's really narrowing down, what is your ideal location. Let's pick a school district. Let's pick, what the stores and the businesses that you want to be by. So I think it's really a level of discernment and helping your buyer kind of figure out something that, they haven't even figured out for themselves.
So, as people start to change and they adjust to the market, and I talked a little about, I think one of the primary reasons people buy houses is really for family. I mean, people say it's investment, but emotionally they're doing it because they want a home. Do you see, and with the holidays, of course, people tend to spend time with family, and maybe people are a little bit more anxious. They want to get in by Thanksgiving, or they want to get in by Christmas or New Year's or Valentine's Day. I don't know. They want to get in before one of those Hallmark holidays now. What do you think is going to happen here over the next, over the holidays, as we see such an increase in demand right now, and now here we are. I mean, Thanksgiving's like a month away.
Yeah. I mean, historically, pending sales have dropped off 15% from average, in September and October, going into November and December. Really, this last year, even a lot of 2011, the seasonal time periods of an on and off market haven't really applied, just because the inventory has been doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But I think this year there's so much activity that you're going to see a similar drop, but for different reasons. I mean, the inventory has been low. I don't think the buyers are going anywhere. I mean, I got, personally, we got, plenty of buyers that would close on Christmas Eve if they found the right spot.
And if they could find somebody to sign them.
Yeah. So, but historically that has been a good time to buy, because there's just not a lot of activity out there. So, it's really kind of a hard market to define.
Yeah. Well, Kalen, I think that's a really interesting piece, is the fact that the buyers probably aren't going anywhere. But the problem is that people aren't listing their house because, well, they probably want to be home for the holidays also. Thanks so much for joining us again, Kalen Peters, owner of Kingston Realty. When we come back, Danielle Dombrowski will join us for the first time. I'm Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.